Father McMillan, Joe, all the Kennedy family, President Obama, thank you for what you said. Speaker Pelosi, Kathleen, it's the first time I ever heard Kenny Chesney sing a cappella. It was beautiful. Thank you, Martin. To all of you who were gathered here, I was trying to think of whether I could say anything that would add to what others have said. And I doubt that I can, but I will tell you this. I thought your mother was the cat's meow. She would flirt with me in the most innocent ways. I remember once I said, you know, we're not at replacement population anymore, and all the politics are anti-immigrant. What are we going to do? I said, we need more people like you. 11 kids times a couple of 100,000, and we're back in business. And she said, no, that's not a good idea. You can't do this unless you really want to. So I say, first of all, she really wanted to be your mothers, your grandmothers, your mother-in-laws, your great-grandmothers. And she was an amazing fireball of continuous energy. It was wonderful to be around her. I remember I loved all these Valentine cards. There's a bunch of them downstairs, and they're very political. I've got one with President Biden, one with President Obama, one with me. She covered the waterfront. But they're wonderful. And I think my favorite one had about 60 pictures of all of you, various family members, all cut out with small heart shapes. And it was always, all of them always had a little poem, you know, around it. So I kept looking at it and looking at it, and let's see, I've actually got a picture of it here. I asked for it, but I love the little poem. Roses are red, violets are blue. I'm surrounded by love, but there's still room for you. I think that's the way she made us all feel. There was still room, that there is an incredible capacity to expand. I love listening to the speaker talk about her experiences with her. You just had the feeling that, you know, nobody should be this upbeat, having been through everything she has. And yet she is. She is totally on the level. In a cynical, divided world where it seems like we all waste too much time with people trying to play us or being played, she was on the level. Day in and day out, person in and person out, always making you feel like you made a difference. I remember back in 2000, right as I was leaving the White House, Hillary had been elected to the Senate, to the same seat that Robert Kennedy had occupied as a senator from New York. So Ethel called me and said if I needed any instruction in how to be a Senate spouse from New York, she'd be happy to provide it free of charge. Then, when we moved into this old farmhouse, it's about 125 years old now, she gave me this amazing gift, a letter signed by George Clinton, who served in 2 stints as governor of New York for 21 years. We were not related, but it was she knew what the deal was. So, and in between, he was vice president. And there's this amazing letter. So I hung it up at the entryway to our house. And people say, where in the world did you get that? And I said, oh, Ethel Kennedy gave it to me. She said it was part of her husband's collection. So I may be the only person who actually got a training certificate in how to be a Senate spouse from New York, from Ethel Kennedy. I can't even begin to say how grateful I am that she lived to be 96 and that she had her energy and her brain power and her love power right through. I can't, and it would be wrong to, dredge up every memory, but I'm telling you, I never saw her. Even on sad occasions when we observed anniversaries of her husband's death, I never saw her when she didn't have her game face on, even when her heart was heavy. I think the lesson of those 96 years and all those children and all those grandchildren, all those great-grandchildren, is that the God she worshiped wanted all of us to be more other-directed, to think more about how our words impacted other people, how our deeds impacted other people, how our lives showed what we were for or against. I wanted to say that every time I think of her, I've thought of her ever since she passed. I think she is the embodiment of the definition of love that St. Paul wrote about in 1 Corinthians, not romantic love, but agape, love for your fellow human beings. The total immersion in the wonder that every human life possesses. And she did it naturally, you think. But when you get hit as many times by life's blows as she did, it's a discipline. You have to decide whether you will keep your heart open or shut it down, whether you'll still keep reaching out to people or clench your fist, whether you dare trust and dare love one more time. For almost a full century, she kept giving it a try. There was always one more time. But there's still room for you. Think about how we live. Think about how we think. Think about what we say about each other, especially now in this political season. Think about Ethel. There's still room for you. We got to clear the room now. It's our job. Thank you. Thank you for being my friend. Thank you for being Hillary's friend. Thank you for caring. Thank you for the family you built and the untold families you inspired. The good Lord knows if anybody ever deserves a quality escort to the pearly gates, it's you. God bless you. Thank you.